When did you first become acquainted with Will McLean?
Actually, right here in Dunellen, he was visiting a journalist who lived next door, and the journalist brought him over and introduced him, and so that's how we met him. And he spent the night that night, and became a friend, you know, almost immediately. We had so much in common about Florida music and everything. So.
He's a lucky person to have met you in his life, because I can't think of that many people who would have had the passion and understanding of the value of what he was contributing. And I wondered if you could tell me, what did you see in his writing that you felt it needed to be shared with?
His works expressed the soul of Florida. He loved Florida and understood it, and that knowledge and love poured out in his songs. And when you hear or sing Will McLean songs, you're really kind of touching the heart of Florida.
Do you think he's made a difference in how we treat Florida through his songs?
I think for thousands of people he has. You know, like his knowledge and love of Florida contrasts a lot with Disney view. So, not that there's anything wrong with Disney, it's just different. But his soul was part of Florida.
He had a lot of issues in his life. I mean, some people who knew him knew about his personal troubles, you know. He even says he had a relationship with Mr. Grape and dirt daubered all over the state.
I had to bail him out of a drunk tank one time.
How'd you feel about that?
Well, I was glad to get him out of there. So.
But you saw the genius above his troubles.
Right, and you know, alcohol didn't control his life. He had problems with it, but he loved Florida and wrote beautifully about Florida. And he had weaknesses like we all do.
There have been a lot obviously, I've worked with the song contest, you know, which has that whole Saving Florida Through Music theme to it. But when you look at how he wrote, there was such poetry. I mean, I'm thinking of Osceola's last words, the wording, the way he put the words together.
Sheer poetry. It is, yeah, it is. And his works are still just as current today as when he wrote them.
What's your favorite Will McLean song?
My favorite, My Soul is a Hawk. I'm but returned from the place the Indians called, you know. Yeah.
Do you know it by heart?
I'm not sure. I'm but returned from the place the Indians called. Oh no.
Land where the wind is blowing.
Right.
What about that song that you like?
My Soul is a Hawk. Mm-hmm. It's like a poem. It's a poem. Beautiful poem. Into the upper spaces of the sky soar I, the beauty of Florida below me, as thermal air currents send their song through my wing feathers. You know, my soul is a hawk. Beautiful. Yeah.
And he describes the sky too.
Yeah.
The blues, the pinks, the oranges,
yeah.
The faint pinks of sunset or whatever.
Right.
It's almost as if he takes you right up in the sky with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel like you're a hawk looking down on Florida.
Yeah. My soul is a hawk. Yeah. My soul is a hawk. I am but returned from the place the Indians call land where the wind is born. Into the upper spaces of the sky soar I, the beauty of Florida below me, as thermal air currents sing their song through my wing feathers, and I float in ever widening circles, yellow eyes piercing with rapture, the blue, the gold, the faint pinks of sunset. And I see in the far, far distance my haven, the majestic old dead tree on which I find my soul is a hawk.
I'm thinking that my favorite is Conch Island.
Is what?
Conch Island, the Green Turtle song.
Yeah, that's a wonderful song. Yeah.
The reason I like it is there's a particular verse in it that really hits me the most, and that's the one about black leather boots. You know, how the footprints from black leather boots erased by the wind and the rain, is that all of these people in 500 years have come here and battled each other and lived here and died here, yet all of that's erased by the wind and the rain, but the green turtle just keeps it coming.
That's right. That is so beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
You were at the memorial service at the Thomas Center, and I don't think I've ever cried as hard at a funeral memorial service as I did that day. It was one of the most beautiful memorial services I have ever been to. There was so much
love. There was so much love poured out. Yeah. It was these wonderful people whose lives that Will McLean had touched. So moving.
It was packed that day in the Thomas Center. It really was, and
yes, it was a privilege just to be part of that. Yeah.
And there was Gamble Rogers.
Yeah.
Doing that a cappella version of Osceola's last words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now he's gone too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you
somewhere in the wind, as Will McLean would say.
You went to several folk festivals with Will, didn't you? Because that was before I was going back. I went in '83, but then I didn't go back for a long, long time. I sure missed out on a lot. But there was a story about how you all got married one evening and divorced the next morning. Now, what is the truth about that story, Margaret?
That's pretty much the truth. Oh, that was such... You know, you do really stupid things in your life, sometimes silly stuff, you know. And we did it, we did. And neither one of us wanted to be tied down, you know. So, got unhitched the day after we got hitched. Oh.
Were there vows exchanged around the campfire, or what?
Was there what?
Vows exchanged?
No, but we had a really nice campfire circle of people that loved us and supported us and thought we were crazy. Yeah. Right.
He called you, he had a special name for you when he talked about you. Do you remember?
Several.
Well, can you tell me about those?
One of the nice ones was Nordic Goddess. How about that? Oh.
And where did that one come from?
Where'd that come from? Well, he found out my father was from Iceland and therefore, you know, Nordic. So he didn't miss a chance to use words, you know. Yeah.
What were some of the other ones?
probably better left unsaid.
Do you feel that, I mean, were you a couple all the way to the end, would you say?
Yes, off and on. Will, was kind of a will-o'-the-wisp, but I was with him at the end. He was a really valiant, wonderful person.
And he's been gone now for 25, almost 26 years.
Seems like yesterday, yeah.
But you keep his memory alive in the hearts of so many people.
Of course, it's his works that do that. People sing his songs and read his poetry. And then there's the Will McLean Festival, of course, yeah. But his works will live forever. It's not a big body of works, but they're treasures, his songs and poems.
You did a lot of the legwork to get him into the Artist Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, it didn't take that much because that's where he belonged, yeah. There's some legwork that has to be done, but he's in the Artist Hall of Fame.
He was the very first folk artist inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Right, and rightly so. Yeah.
So with all of this emphasis put on Will McLean through you, sometimes I feel like people haven't had the opportunity to, I don't know as much about you, Margaret. And I was a little surprised to find out some of your history and where you've taught and all of those kind of things. Have you gotten any of that written down so that people who don't know you beyond Will McLean will know you? Well, what would you want people to know about you? Because I know you worked as a nun for how long?
Long time, yeah, long time.
Like,
I think I'd like to be known as a lover of Florida and promoter of music, especially about Florida. Yeah. And that was I was a convert because I'm from Tennessee and I love Tennessee too. But when you live in Florida, you just adopt Florida. Yeah.
And you live in a very unique location.
Yeah, right there at the confluence of two wonderful rivers, the Rainbow and the Withlacoochees, right outside the window there. And just to be able to look at that and be near it every day is such a gift.
There's a place I know where the river runs slow enough the fish can dream, and the dawn floats through like a sweet old tune any heart can sing, where the rainbow meets the Withlacoochee. There's a house where friends may come to rest their souls and celebrate their song. And the rivers roll on. Father God and Mother Earth made rivers to teach us how life's done. They will stop not for your cares nor yearnings, nor for fears nor dreams undone. And the rivers roll on.